everyone out there? Welcome to a Word Hole Media presentation of Major League A-Holes. I am the true MVP.
Yeah, I guess we'll get into PCA, the original MVP. But I'm Ryan, and you are in the hole with Major League A-Holes. You throw me off every intro. I love it. This is episode 174. I think I'm going to be calling this the Panic or Patience episode, as I'm going to talk about whether we should be panicked in Detroit and Chicago or have patience in Detroit and Chicago, my teams. I don't think your White Sox need to be panicked or patient about anything, so I kind of excluded you from that theme.
You can exclude us. We are in Sox fandom is feeling good.
Giants, I think, are out of that conversation as well.
Giants are done.
Well, we do have a Tigers White Sox series that just wrapped up yesterday to talk about. We are minutes after the Cubs lost Game 3 in the series in Toronto.
Go Cubs, go! Go Cubs, go!
The tenor of that panic or patience conversation is quite different when I refer to Chicago versus Detroit, I think, but we'll see. We haven't done Badass of the Week in a while, so we're doing Badass of last 15 games.
Our new segment.
That was the easiest way to pull stats. Of course, I was accused of manipulating the stats, potentially hacking MLB.com minutes before we went on the air.
That's right.
There's a lot of controversy in this behind the scenes. We'll get to that. So I guess we might as well go ahead and jump into the news.
Well, we had another tight series, buddy.
I mean, Tigers win the series, but that could have been, again, it could have been a sweep for you guys, could have been a sweep for us. Well, probably not, considering Game 2 was a fucking blowout by you guys. They were talking about a Detroit Sports Talk Radio this morning is the least satisfying series victory imaginable, because the 2 games we won were by 1 run and we only scored 3 runs in those games. So, Game 2 was the big one for you guys. I thought that was a bizarre game. Were you watching?
I watched everything. I got it top to bottom.
Really,
start to finish.
I thought Flaherty was really good in Game 2, and somehow he gave up 6 bloop singles in a row that just sent the game spiraling.
That's my all-time favorite inning this year.
The Tigers bullpen came in. I believe they walked in a run, and that's my rule of thumb. Anytime my team walks in a run, I change the channel if there's something else on it, because it is the most fucking annoying thing possible.
It is.
I think the Cubs were on, so I switched over to that, which wasn't as much fun either. So, yeah, I mean, we've talked about it. Your White Sox had been one of the hottest teams in baseball in the second half. I think you're now 500.
Yeah, 12-12.
Yeah, I just used StatMuse to pull all those stats, pull all the records. But yeah, I mean, night and day compared to what you guys had been last year and in the first half of this year. So, and I feel like every series has been really competitive with the Tigers and Sox this year. So it's compelling baseball.
Yeah, I mean, I know you got slammed with work, but that game yesterday was crazy because
I didn't watch it. I was listening to it on the radio.
Who was your pitcher? He had a perfect game through 5 innings.
Yeah, it wasn't Chris Paddock was Game 1. Flaherty was Game 2.
No,
it's Troy Melton, who's
Melton, right?
Rookie who's probably destined for the bullpen at some point, but he's been so good since they called him up. He's kind of a vital piece of their rotation right now with all the injuries. So
right,
yeah, he's really good. He only had 97 innings pitched last year, or maybe it's 100 innings pitched last year, and he's at 97 already.
Okay, yeah.
They were doing all the math on the radio today. There's essentially 40 games left at this point. So, I mean, think about it. Every starter's got maybe eight more starts left, and that would put him way over 140. If he's averaging, that'd be 140 innings if he's averaging 5 innings a start. So I think they're going to have to move him into the bullpen just to conserve him, to hopefully have him available out of the bullpen in the playoffs or a spot start or whatever they need him for. So yeah, I thought he was good. I hadn't heard of most of your pitchers in this series. I don't think many people had. Elvis, what's his name? Elvis entered the building. Elvis had left the building.
Yeah, Elvis struck out the side.
Yeah.
Your batters were just. That's why I think I said, are their bats glued to their bodies?
I didn't want to complain. I don't want to complain.
Oh, that was the worst.
Yeah, I hate complaining about the strike zone, but when you threw that out there in the text, that boy, this strike zone is ridiculous. I'm like, oh my god, I was about to text you like the 25-inch wide zone today, because everything you were throwing up there in the first couple innings seemed like a strike. So
yeah, just if it was over the plate area, whether it was high or low, it was a strike. If it was a couple inches off the corner, sure, why not? Let's get this game over with.
Yeah, that's the impression I got. But
yeah, it was amazing that was 2-1. It was amazing that 3 runs were scored in that game with, as you called, the 25-inch plate at the rate. It was terrible. That ump should not be calling balls and strikes. But I was impressed in game 2, the game we won, with that Yandris Gomez. He struck out over 5 innings, struck out.
That's who I'd never heard of.
7 of the Tigers hitters, 1 hit and 1 walk and 1 earned run over. They were hoping he would go 4 in that game. They got an extra inning out of him. And I don't even remember him. This is hilarious. He started the year off with us and they were like, dude, you got shit to work on. They sent him down. And it was basically, he was not consistently throwing strikes. So anyway, he's the guy I was like most impressed with in the series. The funny thing about the series, though, was of course we won the run differential battle +1.
Oh, I forgot to calculate. Yeah, of course.
+1. Congratulations. Baby. Yeah, the run. That's run differential. How we didn't win the series based on the run differential is beyond me, because that makes you a good team.
I know I've done that to you before.
That makes you a good team. Run differential. But anyway.
Over 162 games, not 3.
oh, whatever.
Well, actually, the Cubs are still amongst the best run differential. Maybe not anymore, but
yeah,
they have been for quite some time. So that it kind of blows that theory out of the water.
But yeah, I know. They've been competitive. The series are fun to watch. The Sox have been fun to watch. But like, how you feeling over there as a Tigers fan right now, there, Smitty? Well, are you panicky, or are you saying we're gonna make it? We got this lead. The Guardians / Indians are creeping up on us. They got their bow and arrows out, ready to shoot us, but maybe not.
You were on the verge of a perfect, smooth segue into panic or patience, and then you got very verbose. but nice try. Yeah, let's go ahead. I mean, we created panic or patience, I don't know, 3 years ago maybe, but that was always meant for like the beginning of the season, because people would fly off the handle after 4 weeks or whatever was happening.
Sometimes after like 3 games.
yeah. But I thought it made a lot of sense to do panic or patience. Now we're basically a month after the All-Star break. There is lots of consternation that I hear on Detroit Sports Talk Radio, Chicago Sports Talk Radio. I'm going to focus on the Tigers right here. We'll get to the Cubs later on in the show, but Tigers are now 11-14 after the All-Star break. It's like tied for 15th. No, it's worse than that. It's like 18th or 19th in the majors. It's also tied with the Yankees. It's better than the LA Dodgers, believe it or not. But it is behind your Chicago
behind
White
the White Sox.
Yeah. And the Cubs are like, well, I forgot to add it up after this. It's about the same as the Cubs. Guess who the worst team since the All-Star break is?
The Oakland A's.
Well, that would be the Los Sacramento A's, but no, it is your San Francisco Giants.
Oh, well, that's fair. Yeah,
I don't even think we're doing a Giants segment this show, are we?
I can't.
Okay, yeah, I don't blame you. I'm not doing an A's segment, so
yeah. West Coast, no props today. I didn't put I do the Sox type thing cap because we're not doing West Coast props with the Dre Sox cap, or Ice Cube.
Well, we do the fantasy minute occasionally here. That was the West Coast minute.
That's all they deserve.
The Tigers, a lot of the angst in Detroit is that they've been so good this year. They have a lot more people paying attention, namely a lot of football fans that freak out over every loss and don't understand it's 162 games. It's the same type of football fans that are pissed off if the team doesn't score on every single drive. I'm just noticing a lot more meathead conversations about the Tigers just because they're top of mind, the big news in Detroit now, and they've been so good for so long. So people are also frustrated with Scott Harris for not trading for more assets at the deadline. We did the live show, so we didn't really do full reactions to the trade deadline other than our instant reactions in the moment as we were live at the deadline, the living deadline. I think it was, we kept saying it was underwhelming for all of our teams essentially, but if you look back at what was actually transacted at the trade deadline, there weren't any big starting pitchers that actually moved anywhere. The market just wasn't there. And that was kind of my argument going into it, is like, I'm not blown away with anything that's available at the trade deadline, unless they were going to throw in, Joe Ryan, or I forget the other big pitcher's name that was just a crazy rumor that, of course, never came to fruition. But there just wasn't the quality, certainly of starting pitchers out there. So I can't blame Scott Harris for that. The big bat that the Tigers did not get was Eugenio Suarez, who I think has like 20 strikeouts and 1 home run in his time now with Seattle. So that was kind of predictable for a 36-year-old having a career first half. He was due to regress. I wasn't frustrated by that. I would have liked to get a little more high-end bullpen help. They did add quite a bit, but you saw the Yankees added more than anyone in their bullpen, and those guys, well, at least they started out pretty mediocre. I think they've kind of leveled off, but but the Yankees are in a free fall as well. So if I'm gonna be forced to choose one, panic or patience, I'm patient with the Tigers. They've got 6.5 game lead in the Central. I'm not worried about the Guardians. I'm not worried about the Royals, who are 9.5 back.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about them.
The Twins gave up on the season by trading 10 of their 26-man roster.
I know, that was crazy.
I just saw another headline. I got to read more about this, but I think they were trying. We've been talking about it all year with the Ishbia situation. He was in line to purchase the Twins from them. So that fell apart. Now they're like pulling the team off the market. Like the family is not selling the team. So I don't know what's going on in Minnesota. I think it was CC Sabathia that coined the phrase "the weird ass Minnesota Twins." They continue to be a weird ass organization. I'm not worried about the division. I guess the other part I would say is I'm glad they're kind of floundering right now. If they're gonna have a cold streak, let's do it now. Get it out of the way. Get back going. Late August and September, and get things moving again. That's a little bit pie in the sky, just because you got to have the rotation to pull you through. And the bullpen, if you don't have the rotation, as pitching chaos proved last year, we don't have that same kind of bullpen. The rotation is deeper than it was last year, but that's not saying much considering we had 1.5 guys. Although one of those still is Tarek Skubal. Flaherty has made me nervous. Although the game Tuesday, I think he pitched really well. It's just a lot of your favorite inning, a lot of luck.
Yeah, that was a Minnesota classic Minnesota Twins inning. Where,
Piranhas.
Yeah, they just you're like, oh my God, our pitcher's pitching great. He's letting up. They're hitting balls exactly in between every freaking player on the field.
Yeah, he hadn't been very good. He had 19 whiffs in that game, season high 19 whiffs. So for him to pitch that well and have it fall apart was frustrating. But I forgot to tell you, I actually went to the Tigers game, his previous start last Wednesday in Detroit, against the Twins, which I thought was going to be an easy win because they had traded half their fucking roster at the deadline, but they beat the fuck out of Flaherty and our bullpen. It was really a frustrating day. It was weird. Tigers got down early, and then they came back and went up 4-3 after home runs from Spencer Torkelson and Kerry Carpenter, who are both happen to be on my fantasy team. So I was feeling good about things after the third inning. So I took a walk, wanted to do a couple laps around Comerica Park. It's a beautiful park. Wanted to get out of the sun for a bit. Came back about 3 innings later. I'm listening on my headphones, and there's monitors, TVs all around, so I knew what was going on. But they gave up 8 unanswered runs from that moment on while I was gone. So I blame myself. By the time we got back to the seats. It was my fault. But yeah, Flaherty is making me a bit nervous. They traded for Chris Paddock and Charlie Morton, who they seem like the same guy. They'll have a stellar 6-inning outing followed by the worst outing, 6 runs.
Right.
So I'm not sure what to expect out of those guys other than some rotation depth innings eaters. Casey Mize frustrates. I'm worried about him getting injured at any moment, but in the meantime, he'll have like the shakiest quality start imaginable. He's always on the edge of giving it up, but he somehow works through things. But he just makes me nervous, but not panicking.
Okay.
keep telling myself that. But, again, with a large lead in the Central, few threats. I mean, the Guardians did cut off, I think it's 9 games off the Tigers' lead since the All-Star break, because they have the 3rd best record in all of baseball since the All-Star break. So I don't think they're capable of continuing that. So yeah, I'm gonna go with patience for sure for the Tigers. I'm gonna check my notes, make sure I didn't have any more.
Need a little patience. Yeah.
That's in my intro, my imaging for the intro for this segment. So
I've been walking the streets tonight.
Sounds a little better than that, but
I don't think so.
All right, we'll put it to the test.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's all I've got for panic or patience. Do not panic, Detroit. We got this. We're all right. Once we get to the playoffs, it's may be a different story, but I'm not worried about getting there.
All right. Well, I mean, after the Sox took the Tigers to the brink, game series could have gone either way again, except for the one game. It's nothing but cupcakes and rainbows over here on the South Side. I mean, and when I mean rainbows, I mean rainbow cones because they're fucking delicious. And rickabenny steak sandwiches and hot dogs with loaded onions and Polishes with loaded onions with mustard. Everything is coming up great here. We may only be 12-12 since the All-Star break, but for a team that's 20 plus games under 500, that's fucking awesome.
Aren't you 30?
Whatever it is. I don't know. Who's counting? We're 3rd since the All-Star break in runs scored. We're tied for 1st in, this is the most amazing stat. We're tied for 1st with home runs. 42 home runs since the All-Star break. And they're top 10 in the MLB with a 773 team OPS. Crazy. It's just fucking crazy. The big story that gets talked about in John Sheffrin's limited dialogue about baseball is how during the All-Star break, as they were coming back and practicing, they had done a deep dive into offensive struggles, and the Sox were, and they have been for years now, they've been terrible with the fastball. Like I'm not saying it's the easiest pitch to hit, but it's quite possibly the easiest pitch to hit, if it's in the strike zone, right? And Will Venable got with the coaching staff, got with the team, and was pretty much like, hey, we got to be better with the we got to tee off on these fastballs. Teams consistently strike us out with the fastball. Well, the conversation and whatever the coaching staff has done to make an adjustment seems to work, because since the All-Star break, the Sox are slugging .564, 1st in MLB against the fastball. I mean, that is insane. Like, I don't know why they couldn't do it during the course of the season taking place. Maybe everyone just needed a break to recharge or whatever. But 18 of those 42 home runs have come off the fastball. So it's like it's fucking crazy. And the stat I brought up earlier, run differential, the Sox are plus 25 run differential since the All-Star break. So
you love run differential.
I love it now. I love it when it's in my favor. I also love it to use it to make fun of people Like when the Cubs didn't make the playoffs, but they had a plus 105 run differential. Who cares? You didn't make the playoffs.
How did the Cubs just come up here in this Sox segment?
Well, because
I always come back to the Cubs.
Well, always because I'm always leading into the next segment for you. I mean,
we've got more to talk about with the White Sox before we get to the Cubs.
I mean, I guess White Sox was
you just cut out for a bit.
There was a call coming in and it got picked up by my iPad.
Okay.
Yeah. One of the interesting things about the White Sox too, besides all the great stats, is the bad stats. Is the reason they're 12-12 is the starting pitching, which was really good in the first half of the year, or the first half plus, has not been good at all coming out of the All-Star break, except for maybe Shane Smith. He's pitched well, and the Gomez the other night, which who knows what his role is really going to be. But the Sox are struggling getting good starting pitching, and despite them having a good bullpen, the bullpen's kind of taxed, and they do a chart like every game of showing like the bullpen usage, and that is really going to come back to bite them later on in the season, because the usage of the bullpen and these bullpen games they do over and over again, and the openers sometimes, it's just all gonna, I think it's all gonna catch up with them. And obviously they're a way better team than they were last year, but I think starting pitching is gonna probably continue to struggle because of having so many young arms on the team, and they're probably already all nearing their like max innings, like you're talking about Melton's already at his max, like Garrett Crochet last year, like it's all like, Martin Davis, Shane Smith, all these guys, it's all gonna like, start to catch up with them. And I mean Davis Martin. But anyway, you have all that, and then you have the resurgence of La Pantera.
I wanted to ask you about La Pantera.
And there's lots of rumors going on out there that, which I would do it. They have the money. Is that they're going to, obviously pick up his option next year.
It's not a rumor. Chris Getz said on Inside the Clubhouse with Bruce Levine on Saturday morning that they will be bringing him back. They want to build. They want to build around him, which is a shocking turn of events, considering we've been talking about for the better part of 2 years how they must trade him. And we understood why they weren't trading him at certain moments, because his trade value is at its absolute lowest throughout most of that, until this past All-Star break into the trading deadline, where we thought maybe a couple good weeks of a healthy Lou Rob mashing the ball might lead to a trade. And for whatever reason, it did not come to fruition. So now the White Sox are pivoting into, no, we're going to keep him. We got to sign him for $20 million. So I guess my asshole question is he worth $20 million?
Well, if he's playing like he is right now, yes. So
I mean, okay. I mean, that's valid for a 2-week sample, 3-week sample,
24 game sample. Yeah. 24 game sample right now.
But that's the opposite of what we've been saying for 2 years. So I guess I find that interesting.
Well, what's it matter? It's $20 million on a team that has a shit ton of money to spend. So,
and they are spending on $0 on everybody else on the roster. So exactly. That's actually the better argument. It's like, well, they've got to have I'm not sure. No, the White Sox can't be a revenue sharing team. But if you take money out of the revenue sharing pool, you have to spend a percentage of whatever that is. Like the A's were going to get in trouble with that. That's why they're signing some free agents in the offseason, kind of inexplicably. But they had to raise their payroll. So it's like, I think adding 20 million to your, or 20 million to your, $50 million payroll is nothing in the grand scheme of things. But I would still argue he's not worth it. But the Sox are in a position where they can certainly absorb that and just kind of ride it out. But I feel like they've just continually kicked this can down the road. And now it's going to cost them $20 million. So not our money. It's about time Jerry spent something on somebody, but it's just kind of hilarious how this is actually played out.
Yeah, well, I think no one's gonna pick him up. No one's gonna trade what his ceiling should be. No one's gonna trade for the guy from 2 years ago.
Yeah, and it sounded like Chris Getz was asking for the world deadline, which he should, unless because they have this backup plan to just pay $20 million to get out of it, or to keep him and not have to trade him. So I guess I understand that side of it. But
I mean, if the funny thing is, if there's a lot of teams right now with the way he's been playing that could have really used him and been a positive impact on them in center field.
You just can't trust him for a rental.
Well, he didn't have to be a rental though. He didn't have to be a rental though, because
again, I don't think anyone is in a position besides the White Sox to pay him $20 million. It's just bad money.
Yeah, I guess, but we'll see. I mean, if he finishes out the season with a big fucking if, a giant if. The entire screen should say "if" right now. Maybe you can do that in post for
I'm not
YouTube.
that good.
Okay, well, never mind then. Fuck you.
I'm bad at video editing. Yeah, I'm just not. It never clicked for me.
But
just imagine what this podcast and video podcast would be if I was actually good at video editing.
Yeah, jeez, jerk.
Or if I had a partner that could do any of that.
I could actually do the video editing.
Oh my God, we've been doing this podcast for fucking 5 years. I had no idea video editing.
I do know video editing.
I did know that because I've seen your work on Pete's Food Frenzy.
Yes, I remember that. Anyway, yeah, I mean, it's kind of like it's almost like the no choice move, right, Smitty? Like, let's think about this.
I think they got backed into a corner is what it is.
And now you have to spin it. And right now it's easy to spin because he's playing well, right?
Yeah.
And if you're going out there to the market with this idea that, we don't want to trade him and he has this value to us, in Chris Getz's mind, he's probably like he's making him more of a, he's becoming more of of what someone might want or desire. But they only want and desire him if the only way he's going to have any value going into the offseason, if that even comes up, because I could see them signing him. And then if he has some amazing run through the end of the season, you got to pick up the option at $20 million and then you trade him, because then he'd be worth $20 million if the numbers project out. You know what I mean? But like, that's the only way. But I mean, when he caught that ball, I will tell you this. When he got that ball with the 1 run score the other day and ran into the wall, I was like, fuck. I was like, fuck. But
there it goes.
I mean, but seriously, like overall, he's actually been pretty healthy compared to past years. And so is the team as a whole, which
he just didn't put up any numbers for 3 months. So.
Yeah. Which is so bizarre as to what was going on from like a training standpoint under the last 2 regimes, under the La Russa and Grafal. Like, what were they doing? Yeah. But anyway, I mean, I agree with you. It's a spin machine. It's what they have to do. They don't have a choice, and they will probably in the back of their heads continue to be like, God, I really hope he has that season like he did 2 years ago. And
it's there. It could be there someplace.
It is there. It's just,
man, that's a gamble.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a gamble. It's been a gamble for a while now. It's also goes back to all these, it goes back to the wrath. This is still the wrath of Han. The $20 million is courtesy of the wrath of Han.
Yeah.
So
Robert is that last piece, that remaining piece from the Han era.
But so it's is what it is. I love Lewis Robert. We're tight after we hung out at the event.
Oh, I forgot you met him.
I don't think he understood a word I said.
No.
He did understand picture because I went
smiling politely.
Like an asshole. Picture. And I made a motion with my hand. Anyway, so I don't mind it. Again, because they have the money and I don't mind it because there's no other choice. You don't just let him walk at this point.
You can't. Yeah.
You've done all of this to try to get him to the point of where he has some sort of value. So you have to keep him until he either has value or if he does have value and the team, we'll see how the team finishes the second half or not just a post, I want to say second half, but post All-Star break, how they finish. Maybe he is just he's one of the veteran presence on a new competitive White Sox team. So who knows?
I mean, the other way to look at it is, next year's trade deadline, if you are sellers again, which I would say it's more likely than not, you could still trade him. You'd have to, either agree to eat his salary or it would be a prorated amount at that point. So it'd be 4 months into the season. So it'd be, less than $10 million.
Yeah.
Someone would have to eat. So that wouldn't be as unpalatable as it sounds, but we were right back in the same situation we've been in for 2 years. It's just kind of funny. It's just different stakes, and it just cost Jerry a bunch of money.
Yeah, well, fuck Jerry. But so anyway, we'll see what how that shakes out. Just a couple random notes. Martin Perez returned the other day, and he came out of the bullpen. I'm assuming he might eventually move into a starting role again. I should say Martin Perez, excuse me. And then I was saying the starting pitching has been terrible. They did send Jonathan Cannon back down to work on his mechanics. This is a guy who didn't walk anyone the first month and a half of the season and because completely lost his control. So anyway, overall, nothing bad to report here from the South Side. I'm loving baseball.
Well, before I transition over the Cubs, or in a way of transitioning over to the Cubs, I want to bring up a former Chicago White Sox,
Andrew Vaughn.
Andrew Vaughn, now with the undefeatable, invincible Milwaukee Brewers,
best team in baseball.
12 games in a row. Yeah, they've got the best record in baseball for more. I only looked it up for this after the All-Star game, but they're 20-4 in that span. I think they're like 45 out of 60 or some insane thing. But part of that resurgence is Andrew Vaughn. Like, what? I saw the stat the other day. He in 48 games at the White Sox, he had a 531 OPS, which should have meant he was demoted long ago. That is not a competitive OPS for Major League Baseball. But in his 27 games in Milwaukee, he had a 1055 OPS, like one of the best hitters in baseball. So did you ever imagine that Andrew Vaughn could put together a 27 game stretch that would amount to an over 1,000 OPS?
I did imagine it because that's why we drafted him in the first round. But as of late, I would say no. So no, I guess reality wise, no, as of what I've seen on the field as a White Sox fan, but that was always the dream.
Well, it's all part of the voodoo magic that is now the Milwaukee Brewers. It used to be the St. Louis Cardinals. They have somehow lost that and transferred it over to the Brewers for the last several years. No one picks the Brewers to do shit.
I did. I picked them to win the division this year in our preseason. So
I don't remember that, but
2 middle fingers up.
Wow. But few pick the Brewers consistently. Congratulations. I think that's more out of spite than anything, but other than your true baseball acumen. But
I mean, the Sox are always fucking the Cubs somehow. They sent Andrew Vaughn to the Brewers.
Out. Somehow it always works out in the Cubs, in the Sox favor in those transactions. Always fucks the Cubs. But that is a big part of going to be the conversation for my Cubs segment on panic or patience. As when we last joined you, the Cubs actually had a shot in the division. They're 8 games out of the fucking division now, behind Milwaukee as of this afternoon after losing to the Blue Jays. They're only 5 games up for the final wild card slot ahead of the Reds, who have been pretty fucking good, the Fighting Franconas. I think there's great reason for panic in Chicago on the north side for sure, as opposed to Detroit, as I espoused earlier. Cubs are 29th in runs scored since the break. They They're just below 500 in that. They're 11 and 12, 11 and 13 right now, I believe, after today's loss. So it's not like they've been horrible or collapsing. It's just that Milwaukee has been ridiculous. They're now 5 games better than anyone else in the majors, I think. It's hard to fathom. While that's going on, MVP, as we coined, or as he was coined earlier, has 0 home runs and a 240 OPS over, I forget what span that is, basically in August. Kyle Tucker, the $600 million man, has the same numbers in the last couple weeks as PCA, 0 home runs and 240 OPS. They flailed again today. Tucker had a key strikeout in a moment in the 8th inning where they had a chance to take the lead and did nothing. Jed Hoyer, I think a lot of fans feel like he let them down in a similar way as fans think in Detroit with Scott Harris, as they did not add much at all at the trade deadline. Mike Soroka, their obvious glaring need at the deadline was starting pitching. They got a starting pitcher who got hurt 2 innings into his Cubs career.
Yeah.
That is some bad due diligence right there. They talked about, they saw his velocity had been down over the last few weeks, but they trained that up. They somehow didn't think it was an injury potential. It was like fatigue is how they explained it away. And of course he gets hurt in the 2nd inning for the Cubs. It's just a horrific confluence of events that have added to this. In the middle of all that, the aforementioned Jed Hoyer received a contract extension.
He sure did.
Kind of out of the blue. It was mere days before the trade deadline, which we didn't actually talk about in last episode. Curious timing. Not so much if you think about it in terms of Jed going, calling up other GMs or what kind of leverage he might have in a lame duck year. I think it made sense for the Cubs to, if they were going to have Jed around long term, you got to extend him, and so he had some leg to stand on in negotiations. But at the same time, when we saw a lame duck, potentially desperate Jed Hoyer this past offseason, he made a bold fucking move, maybe the boldest move of his career, adding Kyle Tucker and trading away Cam Smith. So it's interesting to juxtapose that with how the newly signed Jed Hoyer with his papers suddenly became very conservative once again, which is his true nature, and did very little and definitely did not want to part with any of the prospect capital in the very quite deep Cubs system. So I just thought that was interesting timing. Of course, it was revealed by Crane Kenny, of all people, who I always am mystified why he's talking to the media, why he's revealing details about Jed Hoyer and Tom Ricketts conversations. But apparently that they had a handshake deal done 3 weeks prior to that. So Jed knew for weeks that he was going to be retained as Cubs president and GM. So it's just annoying that came from fucking Crane Kenny. But so I don't know what to believe, if that's really true or seems to make sense. But so it's a frustrating moment. All that coalesces in a very, very disappointing second half so far for the Cubs. I think it's very worthy of panic. There's reinforcements coming as of even last night. Miguel Amaya returned after a long stint on the IL with an oblique injury, only to injure himself running to first base. Did you see that replay?
Was he the one who was getting carted off?
Yeah, he was carted off. It looked like he broke his ankle, blew out his knee, and potentially shattered his pelvis all in one play.
Yikes.
He did the stretching to get to first base on a close play.
Right.
But he stiffened his whole leg, which basically turned his leg into a pole vault for the rest of his body. Shot him straight up in the air. It looked awful. He was in tears. I mean, it was his first game back from such a long stint on the IL, and he had been playing so well before that. So just another brutal moment. Apparently he only has a sprained ankle. After all of that, after they did the imaging and the x-rays,
It was a really bad sprain. Really bad sprain. Then I mean, to take a card off the field.
Yeah, that's what I don't get. So there might be more than just a sprain. I don't know why that's the narrative right now. So that was another frustrating moment. The silver lining of that, I guess, is that forced the very conservative Jed Hoyer to actually make a move and bring up their number one prospect, Owen Caissie, today, which makes a ton of sense. A lot of people have been calling for a while to help bolster a very fatigued outfield, I would say, when you look at how the slumps of PCA and Kyle Tucker are coinciding. Ian Happ isn't necessarily lighting up the world. I think they could use some rest if you think about it. Owen Caissie is kind of the perfect call up, and it could have been done quite a while ago, as he's been hitting, I think it's over 950 OPS with 22 home runs in AAA Iowa. There's no reason he needed to be in Iowa any longer. He's ready. So it's kind of refreshing that Jed actually did it. It's annoying that it was only because of a big injury that actually brought him up here. I mean, people are going to make excuses or just say I'm making excuses for the Cubs, but I think fatigue is a real issue with Kyle Tucker and potentially PCA. Playing every day in the outfield. Cubs play more day games than anybody else. It's less than they used to, but it's still more than anybody else. And this is the hottest fucking summer I can remember. I mean, I'm in Michigan, but our weather's not too much different than yours. And I live the summers. I try to never close my windows or run the air conditioning. Usually it's about 10 days a year where I'm running the AC. Well, it may be 10 days this summer where I didn't run the AC. It has been a brutal summer. I think Kyle Tucker has been used to playing in an air-conditioned environment in Houston all this time. PCA's, just a kid, like going through this stuff for the first, second time for a whole year. I think it's obvious that fatigue is a factor, and bringing up Caissie makes a ton of sense. We'll see if that makes any difference. It certainly is not going to make a difference in the division because we've got 40 games left and the Cubs are down by 8 games, and Brewers don't look like they're going to, I mean, they can't continue this streak, can they? Their winning streak is up to 12 games.
I mean, did you hear what happened because of that 12th game?
The free burgers?
Free burgers at George Webb's.
Okay, I've never heard of George Webb. I thought that was just some guy's house. Is that that's apparently a burger chain? Or
yeah, and they've had this like 12-game win streak free burger thing in place for like 50 years or something like that.
And it's only happened like 3 times.
Yeah, yeah. I've never been there.
I heard it was a shithole. Like
I never heard of it either. So.
Yeah, I don't think many people go there except for if there are free burgers. But
I heard about it this morning because of the free burgers.
Well, congratulations to all the Wisconsinites, whatever they're called.
Go get a shitty hamburger.
Yeah, go eat your shitty hamburgers. Hopefully your winning streak never gets to this length ever again. But the division's over. There's no way the Cubs are making up 8 games in 40. And I would be a little bit nervous about having just that 5-game lead in the wild card over the third.
+4 after today's loss. I have it pulled up right now.
Okay, see, it was 5.5 I had written down, so I subtracted the half game after they lost today. So maybe I did the math too soon.
It says they're +4, LA's +3.5.
Oh no, but you got to add in how far behind.
Cincinnati's 5 back of the Cubs, but only. One back of the Mets.
That's how I did the math. Maybe
that's
I got not how you're supposed to do it. But
I apologize.
We're arguing about math again. I'm sorry. I hacked that site too, by the way.
What the fuck is wrong with you and your hacking?
I had time this afternoon.
Jesus.
Actually, I didn't. So yeah, the verdict is panic on the north side of Chicago.
Yeah, I would panic. It's on fucking fire over there, and not in a good way.
Do you think my fatigue excuse, the heat, is bullshit? Or
yeah, I mean it's a pussy excuse, so it's cool.
Think there's zero merit to it. Is it hot there? Has it been hot there? Or
it's been hot for everyone. It's been hot for the White Sox players who played every day this year, but somehow
you don't play the same number of day games. That was my point. I mean, the Cubs play way more day games. Night too. Oh, come on, not the same way.
Yes, it's been repressive humidity. We can't even sit out on the deck at night. Been so hot, but sun, of course, adds a whole other element. I mean,
as we've learned over time, the sun creates heat.
Yeah, but I
that's our science minute right there.
I guess the Cubs,
All right.
the players are tired. They're not conditioned well enough to play in hot weather. So we'll phone in. I hope the little could they compete in the Little League World Series right now? It's hot there too. Those kids are competing. Is it all right? I'm kidding. It does have merit.
Can we have an honest conversation?
I know. I'm just
Jesus
I'm
Christ.
fucking around a little. We don't fuck around enough sometimes.
Ugh.
I'm not a dick enough sometimes. I'm not an asshole enough. No, but I guess
I thought you had matured.
I see. I can't. And the Sox are doing well right now. They're doing better than the Cubs. I can't.
500.
I can't.
Over 24.
Yeah, 500 is better than everyone else in this fucking on this fucking podcast.
I'm mailing you your trophy.
That's right. Mail me my fucking trophy. Number 1 in home runs. They're so tired. They hit.
We already did the Sox.
41 home runs.
Easy.
Well, we're going into another Sox segment because it's going to be badass over the last 15 games.
We have not done a badass of the week. Sorry, as I'm tearing up.
Sorry, I didn't mean to make you cry. It's probably the
allergies.
Heat. Is it eye fatigue from the heat?
It might be. I left my windows open today. Then the dew point went up. Now I'm sweating. I've got pit stains.
Oh God. I hope you can finish the podcast, Tucker.
It's been a hot summer. I don't know if I can. I've got fatigue. We have not done a badass of the week. The opposite of complaining about fatigue and sunshine. Badasses don't give a fuck. So we haven't done it in a while. So I compiled stats over the last 15 games because that's what you told me to do. And then you question my stats when I sent them to you.
Well, this goes back to everyone wants to use AI. So I said, just so I had like some figures up, I said, hey, well, Colson Montgomery's, I get a stat over I'm running Sox stats, and it says over the last 15 games, Colson Montgomery's had 8 home runs.
Oh, that's another lesson to you kids. Do not trust AI because that is false.
Yes.
It's only had 7. It must be 16 games. They must have been calculating everything before last night or something. Or?
It gives you a footnote. So I clicked on the footnote after.
Plus or minus 1?
No, it pulled from some article from days ago where it was within a 15-game span.
Yeah, don't do that.
Anyway, that's that. But I guess since we're in badass of the last 15 games officially, we will start off with Colson Montgomery, correct?
Yeah. I mean, you brought this up before we even started putting together notes for this show, and I had heard how well he had been playing. It's kind of amazing. Well, we talked about it briefly in episode 173, the Living Deadline, how he went to batting camp for a while and figured things out and had been shitty throughout his minor league career, even this year, and then comes up to the majors and crushing the ball to the point we had to put him in the badass of the week nomination list.
Well, he just switched to a torpedo bat, FYI. I don't know if you knew that.
There you go.
Torpedo bats make everything better. So we'll start off with White Sox shortstop / third baseman because he's got a fucking gun for an arm. Colson Montgomery, 10 runs, 7 home runs, 15 ribby. That's an RBI a game. 882 OPS.
Yeah.
I don't. Go ahead.
Those are solid numbers. That's a very worthy badass of the week. It's been a while since you've had any White Sox in the badass of the week conversation. So I was happy to see that there. But you have even more White Sox on the list, which I was completely unaware of.
Yes, the guy who you heard about. Lenin Sosa, maybe never going to live up to his potential under the last 2 coaching staffs, been sent up and down over and over again. Seems with the new coaching staff, he is living up to his potential. He's led offensively all second basemen in Major League Baseball since July 1st. But over the last 15 games, 10 runs, 5 home runs, 11 RBIs, and he's getting a lot of extra base hits. So he's a 977 OPS. Boom.
Is he more of a badass of the White Sox than Colson Montgomery?
It's hard to
the higher OPS right there.
It is a higher OPS.
2 fewer home runs.
Couple home runs there.
Oh, imagine if you had that 8th home run.
RBIs.
If you could grant that 8th home run for Montgomery.
I am through
change
AI.
Everything.
AI has granted him an 8th home run.
What would they do with his OPS?
Very tight race over these. I feel like first 3, and then Kerry Carpenter, who he just came back from injury, right?
He did.
Yeah. 10 runs, 5 home runs, 13 ribby, 1154 OPS. So he's got the best OPS out of this gang.
He's got fewer home runs, fewer RBI. RBI I throw in there, but that's kind of an unfair thing to do because it doesn't really that's dependent obviously on others. But runs, home runs, OPS is my guiding stat. 1153, is that what it was?
1154.
Oh, I shortchanged him. Sorry about that, Gary. That's incredible. It's everything the Tigers need as they've been a little bit struggling on the offensive side. He's been incredible. So we've got a couple other people on the list, though.
We got Matt Shaw, who's looking like he is possibly the third baseman of the future for the Chicago Cub 8-run.
He did not look like that to start the season.
No.
He didn't look like he was even going to be a major leaguer, and then he kind of figured things out. And he's basically their whole offense at this point. No one else is hitting. He's been hitting like a motherfucker. So enough to put him on the Badass of the Week nomination list.
He's got 8 runs, 4 homers, 7 ribby, 2 stolen bases, and an 891 OPS. So.
Yeah, the OPS is not to Sosa or Carpenter's level, and certainly not the home runs, but it's an impressive week. I threw in the stolen bases because he's the only guy on the list that has any stolen bases in that time, which is nice. But yeah, I don't think he quite qualifies for our full Badass of the Week, but I was happy to put him on the list.
And then we got a token pitcher, I guess we'll call it, since it's, we love offense here, but we like pitching too. And it's definitely worth mentioning. I heard the stat the other day. Cade Horton for the Cubs, almost reminding you of a Jake Arrieta in his prime. 28.1 scoreless inning streak, his longest streak in MLB this year.
Yeah, and
I think he just let up 1 run yesterday.
Yeah, that was
finally.
It.
Yeah,
and they won the game, so it didn't matter. But yeah, he has been incredible. Again, I'm a little worried about how many innings he's going to actually be able to pitch down the stretch here. He's been the Cubs' best pitcher in the second half for sure. So how long that can actually be sustained is a big question mark. And if they plan to have a deep run in the playoffs, they're going to have to conserve his innings to have him available. So, but I wanted to mention that's the only pitcher I brought up on the list. It's so hard to compare pitchers and batters, but I just thought it was worth mentioning just because that scoreless inning streak was not only remarkable for him, for a 23-year-old, but it is the best in baseball this season.
I mean,
so where do we go? How do we land on our Badass of the Week? This is going to be an interesting conversation. I'm not sure there's a one obvious standout like we typically have. Where do we want to go with this?
I mean, for me, I'm still leaning towards Colson Montgomery. He's had an incredible run over these 15 games. He's had an incredible run over 18 games. It's 10 home runs. So if you throw, I mean, it's crazy. Yeah. Like 3 more.
You could have told me to look over 18 games, and I would have.
Yeah. So I mean, I know that's not what we're talking about here, but I just think he's been such a bright spot for me as a White Sox fan. So
I like Kerry Carpenter. He's one of my favorite players. The OPS is overwhelming. It's so much better than everybody else on the list. Yet that comes because of doubles and not home runs, because he has fewer home runs than anybody but Shaw, I think. So I think it's cool that we're actually talking about White Sox finally on this list, because it got a little bit redundant. I think I'll be magnanimous there and give the nomination to Colson Montgomery.
All right. Well, I'm going to say it this week. Colson Montgomery, you are our Badass of the Week.
I'm sure he's very happy about that. But
I'm going to let him know.
Yeah.
I'll tell Len to bring it up on the air, my bud.
Yeah, forward them the segment once I post it this weekend.
I will. Len, check it out.
Well, I think with that, we can wrap up this episode 174 of Major League A-Holes. For now. You can find us for now on social media at Major League A-Holes. You can find our website at majorleagueaholes.com. You can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/Major League A-Holes. And you can find this podcast anywhere you'd like to find a podcast. So with that, I'm going to declare this podcast is over. Peace.
Peace.